the more healing you do, the more you change your internal narrative, the more you start to change your external reality, and those blessings get closer and closer and closer. And I'm going to tell you something, my friend. When you're right here, when your blessings are knocking at the door of getting to you, you are going to feel like your entire world is falling apart, because these last belief systems have been here the longest and they're holding everything in place. So if you're struggling, if you feel like your 3D reality is falling apart, know that the universal truck with all your blessings is right outside your front door, and persist with your healing. Persist with your beliefs, because what you are wanting is also wanting you.
Welcome. This show empowers you to confront and overcome addiction with real stories, inspiration, and a host of resources. Our growing community supports, uplifts, and takes action to enable a new way of living. Now, F3 Recovery brings you the Super Sober Podcast. Welcome to the 30th episode of the Super Sober Podcast. Thanks for tuning in out there and listening in viewerland on YouTube. We got another unbelievable guest here. We're just super excited. Remember, we live to give here, and that's being grateful, inspired, validated, and excited on the Super Sober Podcast. We're on episode 30, so thank you for all the co-hosts, all the people listening, all the shout-outs, emails, responses, and just everybody that makes this possible. And of course, I'm your host. My name is Brett C. My sobriety date is 4/21/03. I'm an RN with a BSN. I've been working in hospitals and helping people suss out this unbelievable convoluted disease addiction. And then we'll introduce Rich is back. Imagine that.
Yeah, I'm back. Glad to be back. Thanks for the invite.
Of course.
So my name's Rich. Sobriety date of October 5th, 2013. I'm also a nurse. I'm an RN. Currently work at a behavioral health facility. I'm a nursing supervisor over there. Prior to that, I worked in behavioral health facilities as care coordinator / support staff technician for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's me. Glad to be back. Thanks.
Yeah, and a boxing instructor for all those people out there. And then we have our guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Miss Jessica.
Hello, my name is Jessica McDonald. I'm so excited to be here. My sobriety date is 10/27/19.
Amazing. And what's your credentialing?
So I have been sober about 5 years. Currently, I'm a mindset mentor, a full-time content creator, and a full-time affiliate for TikTok Shop. And this journey started for me because early on in sobriety, it was just so much consumption of positive memes, positive posts, positive things that I could read on the internet that would really get me through to the next day, to the next meeting, to the next thing. And I swore if I ever made it through that I wanted to give back. And I wanted to talk about the hard parts that nobody talked about, the parts where most people give up. And so that's really what started this journey. I started posting inspirational, motivational content, sharing how to get through the hard parts. And the internet did its thing, and I went viral, and I got the opportunity to work with some amazing brands on TikTok, and then to do things like this, where I get to come on podcasts and talk about my journey.
That's amazing. So we got a good one for here. You guys got to stay tuned for this one. So, but at first on the Super Sober Podcast, like we always do, we're going to do some amazing shout outs on recovery and milestones. We're going to definitely shout out to Solomon here at the podcast place that makes all this happen. The amazing mastermind behind the scenes. Go ahead and say, what's up, Solomon?
What's up?
All right, cool. All right, we got sobriety milestones out there. We got Lavina M with 14 years. Yes. We got Alan A, this power couple right there with 13 years. Yes. We got Benjamin L, who was on the podcast doing his rap thing with 9 years out there. And then we got Eddie B, who's been a co-host also with 3 years of sobriety. Yes. And all those people that were just pushing them down or making them not believing in them, and then all the barriers that they had to go through. This is what this podcast is about. This is what Jessica teaches. And this is, so the wife that's where we found her on Instagram. The wife saw the video, shot it to me, and then we shot it all throughout the recovery community over here in the OC, and people were like, oh man, this is rad. This is really cool. And the wife said, why don't we put her on it? So I was putting it together, And it was from a different feed that showed it. A lot of people show the videos of other people's stuff through their feeds. So a little bit of digging uncovered Jessica. I shot out an email or something through Instagram, and boom, she got right back. And this was like a week ago. So we already scheduled this super stat, and we're super excited. And this is going to be an educational podcast that we're going to be doing here. And this is on spiritual abundance and spiritual manifestation. Right. This is like the buzzword out there. A lot of people are talking about it. It's like, how do I get to my abundance? How do I manifest better things in your life? And we already know how to do that with practicing the 12 steps and remaining accountable to change in the Super Sober podcast. So I didn't even know she was in recovery. So I just felt the videos that she does were so correlative to the steps and what we've been talking about on Super Sober podcast. I talked with her, and within a couple minutes, she's all, I am in recovery. And that wasn't much of a shocker because it was just so relative. So shout out to the wife. Love you, honey, for just giving great ideas in the background and filtering a lot of my mind through hers and it coming through. And we got another great guest. So I'm going to do two quick just definitions. So a lot of people think it's just woo-woo, voodoo, or whatever, this spiritual manifestation or what we would call spiritual disruption. Going through the process of the early throes of recovery before you uncover and discover who you really are. And so spiritual abundance, if you look it up on a definition, it's easy to see through whatever religion you're in or whatever spiritual pathway that you're in, you'll be able to see that it's relative in any of those readings. So spiritual abundance is about experiencing a sense of profound fulfillment, gratitude, and a richness in every aspect of life. It goes beyond material possessions and financial wealth, encompassing a state of mind deeply connected to gratitude, fulfillment, and a sense of purpose. Abundance is recognizing the blessings that already exist in our lives. And spiritual manifestation, here's the definition really quick before we get into things. Spiritual manifestation is the process of using spiritual beliefs, practices, and principles to manifest desired outcomes in one's life. It involves connecting with a higher power or spiritual source and aligning thoughts and actions with those principles and energies. So, breaking it down, it's not just some convoluted process. We have a direct, delineated process. And of course, those that are in sobriety, since we're in that field of it, you can start off with just getting through the 12 steps. So first off, we're going to hear a little bit about how Jessica, she's just going to tell us how she got here, give us a little bit of that, and then we're going to go into one of 3 videos of what she teaches on her Instagram page and her TikTok pages, that so the audience can just be like, oh my gosh, that helped me so much. I have a clearer vision of where I'm going and what I'm doing. And then you can just follow her from there like we do now. Right? So go ahead and lead in a little bit there, Miss Jessica. I appreciate it.
So I really was at a place in my life where, I mean, for me, I was at the lowest of the low when I realized that I needed help. I needed recovery. I needed to get sober. Everything was okay for me until it wasn't, you know. 1 was too many, 1,000 was never enough. It was all those cliches. And I ended up in recovery. And recovery, I still could not even admit that my life was unmanageable. I remember sitting there and they were like, okay, do you feel like your life is unmanageable? And I'm like, no. And they're like, ma'am, you do know you're in rehab, right? And so I had no ability to be honest with myself about the things that were really happening in my life, my thoughts, my actions, my attitude. I had so much victim mentality. It's his fault. It's her fault. It's my childhood. It's the ex-husband. It's this, it's that. It was always everybody else's fault. And in rehab, they suggested that I go to AA. And suggested that I get a sponsor, and they suggested that I work the steps. And I did that. I didn't do it perfectly. We had some relapses, you know, we did what we do, but I finally decided, you know what, this is it. I'm going to take this seriously, and I'm going to do this because I deserve better. My kids deserve better. This is not the version of me that I want to be. And so I got a sponsor and I worked the steps, and I worked them like my life depended on it. I mean, I did the 90 and 90. I did all the things. And after about 6 months of sobriety, almost a year, I was introduced to a church that studied the philosophies of the science of mind, of manifestation, of how thoughts become things and how we actually call things into our reality. And I found it in my spiritual center, in my church. So it went hand in hand, just being led down the path, finding a higher power, following the breadcrumbs, all the things that we're taught. And when I was sitting in that class and they were explaining to me, what you tell yourself you are, I'm thinking about, I'm Jessica. I am an alcoholic. I work the steps. I clean up my wreckage. I mean, I had just demonstrated how a total shift in my thinking by doing the steps was changing my life. So it was so easy for me to grab a hold of the fact thoughts really do become things. I am really sober. All the things the book says to do, if you believe it, you act on it and you do it. Like that had all just happened for me. So then I started focusing on how can I get this out to people who maybe are not at the place where they're an addict or they don't have the character traits to say I am an addict or I'm an addict or an alcoholic, but they need a program. They need the message. They need to understand, what does it look like when we're talking about these things? And so I started creating content and I started posting. I became a life coach. I started attracting clients that were addicts and alcoholics in their disease. A lot of them I introduced to recovery. That was like when I knew I was like, because I'm sitting here having life coaching sessions with people and I'm wanting to give them all this advice. And it's like, you got to go to rehab. You got to, I was very, very honest with them. And they did, and it worked, and they're still sober. And I'm like, okay, the message is working. And then I started really wanting to translate the law of attraction, manifestation, identity work into terms that people can understand. Because what I see a lot on the internet is people talking in these big lofty terms, but not really explaining the boots on the ground. What do we do when the shit hits the fan? What do we do when we feel like we want to give up? Why are the hard things coming up in our lives? And that's when I created that post with the ping pong balls. It went viral in 3 different languages. It has reached people all over the world. And that really showed me that what I'm doing is working. It's worth it. My message is worth saying. My voice is being heard. So I create content now. I have a course that I just launched. I'm getting ready to launch additional coursework to be able to teach people more about identity work. And it's just been such a transformational process.
Wow. That's amazing. I love it. And that's where she found it, right at her local church.
Yeah.
In the area of it.
Several people in my meetings that I went to were like, you need to try this place. It's non-denominational. I really struggled to find a higher power. And my sponsor at the time, this was the question that really converted me. She goes, have you ever had anybody there for you no matter what, always looking out for your best interest, always has your back even when things are going wrong, and somebody who's always going to stand up for you? And I said, no. And she said, well, how would you feel if you did?
Wow.
And the belief that could be there for me is what created that leap to be able to be believing in that. And then once I believed in that, I went to the church. The church was giving the classes. And I mean, just that simple shift in the belief opened the doors and really changed everything for me.
Yeah, that's amazing. Follow the breadcrumbs and trust the path. You keep walking the path, because if you don't, then you'll never see what's down the path. But at the beginning of this path that you're walking, we know that you're already in a mire of situations. We call them the people, places, and things. All the stuff that we're powerless over, especially our substances and our addiction. And you're looking at 2 people, and the third one right here, that have gone through what the terminology would be is spiritual disruption. And at first, it does not feel well. So we're going to give a quick visual right here of what brought us to Jessica and what went viral. For those that are listening and not seeing the video, but you can always go to YouTube and see it. And it's her with a glass, big glass, and she put some ping pong balls in there and some other things. And that's showing what you are currently filled with. And then the process of pouring all the good stuff in. And then when all of the stuff gets uplifted from what's deep down inside of you, and it starts coming up, starts bubbling up, and you're just starting to throw up who you used to be, that's terrible. Of course, no one wants to feel like they're just throwing up or in the throes of a spiritual vomiting or the process. And then people start tapping out. So she keeps on pouring into the glass, and more of it bubbles up. And then she explains how many people stop at various lengths of how long it takes for people to really get clean and then through the process, which is very correlated to the 12 steps. And we'll break that down. But Solomon, can we go to the first video? And it'll be about 4 minutes or so.
And show you the exact process of what it looks like when somebody changes their life. Okay? This is you. Childhood trauma, judgment of others, old ideas, old thoughts, perspectives you were raised with, self-doubt, maybe some addiction, maybe an eating disorder, things you don't really want to talk about but happen to you that you've tried to hide, old beliefs, and all the people that think you can't do it. Okay? These things are all buried inside you. But you know what? You've got this much room and you're like, I want to make more money. I want to be a better dad. I want to be a better mom. I want to change my life. I'm ready to start a business. So you go out and you get yourself some education, some good ideas, some good, clean thinking. You want to manifest. You want to connect to your higher power, and you start to pour that in. And the first thing you notice is, oh my God, I'm putting all this good stuff in. Why is all this other stuff coming up to the top? Why am I feeling so crazy and so awful? Because you're building a solid foundation. You are uprooting all your old traumas, your old thoughts, your old ideas, and you are putting something else at the bottom for you to build on. 50% of people opt out right here because bringing any of these ideas any closer to the surface is so uncomfortable, and the pain of healing is so great that at this point in their life, they go back to their 9-to-5, they give up the side hustle, they go back to the toxic ex, and they go back into old behavior, and they start subscribing to the idea that it's all a scam. Okay? We're here. You're not going to quit yet. You're going to keep going because you believe you have this burning desire inside of you that tells you that you're meant for more. So you reach back out again. Maybe you get a mentor. Maybe you get a life coach. Now you're in therapy. Now shit's getting real. You've got all this stuff bubbling up to the surface and you feel like you are never going to make it. And one by one, you start to cycle through all of your old beliefs, all of your old actions, all of your old ideas, and you adopt new healthy lifestyles. But all of your stuff is coming to the top. This much of you is now replaced with who you're meant to be. The person that is actually wanting to come out, wanting to thrive, and wanting to shine. Another 30% of people are going to quit right here. They're so close, but they're going to quit right here because the burden and the weight of going through all these things is so uncomfortable that it's going to set them back all the way to the beginning. So you're going to keep going. You're going to keep going. You're going to keep believing. You're going to keep knowing that everything that is meant for you is going to be meant for you. And eventually, you're going to end up here. Another 5% of people are going to quit here. They will do all this work. They will put in all this effort. They will get all these blessings and receive all these miracles and still decide to quit right here because of the pain they've gone through. So my challenge to you, my friends, is to understand that if you've gone through all the pain, you've gone through all the hardship, all your stuff from childhood's coming up, you're adopting new belief systems, you're adopting new ideas. Don't quit when you're almost there. Keep reaching for the good stuff. Keep pouring the good stuff in, and eventually you're going to end up being who you're meant to be.
Wow. Great video. I've seen it probably 5 or 6 times though. And anytime I encourage anybody that when they're going through something, that you have to go through it. You can't get around it. If you want to become the new person, but look at how much space she was making. She started with that little space, and everybody's got that little space right inside of them. And when you start pouring more good stuff in, start changing your life, man, it's unbelievable. Thanks for the visual and everything. That was amazing. So break that down a little bit for us there, Jessica.
So it's like the reward for divorce is co-parenting. The reward for sobriety is seeing your wreckage. You know, the reward that we think we're going to get when we take that hard step to make the change is usually harder than what it took to make the change. But what most people don't realize is getting sober is the abundance. Getting sober is the gift. Most people don't even get there. People are dying in their disease every single day. So if you've got 1 day, 5 days, or 3 days, maybe you're far ahead of anybody else in that same situation. That is the gift and that is the blessing. And we hold on to those feelings of success while we work through the rest of it. I had to submerge myself. All that good stuff we're pouring in, that's all those meetings. Being around people who are wanting to succeed instead of being around people who are wanting to fail. I reached for the courses at my church. Absolutely. I'll be there. I'll show up even when it's hard. I'm going to get myself around people who know good things are possible, who are living good lives. Then the hard stuff doesn't feel so hard. It doesn't feel so hard when you're in community. And that's one thing the program has taught me is if I want to be successful in any area of my life, I need to get around a community of people who are already successful in it. You're always going to have those days that you want to quit. But that's why the rooms are so amazing and churches are so amazing and courses are so amazing, is because there's always somebody a mile or two ahead of you to be like, hey, you know what? I've been there and I'm here now. And if I did it, you can do it too. There's nothing so big that you can't overcome it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
What I find is interesting too is like with the metaphor with like the water and then the ping pong balls bubbling up. And like at first there's so many of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then some of them start to come out of the top. And then like further on down the line, and I found this to be true with like my own recovery, is there's so much good stuff that it actually takes more work to, I guess, discover or uncover the things that are still like ailing you.
Mm-hmm.
And so like they say, like in recovery, like the road narrows. And so it's true. It's like, as time goes on, it takes more work to like pinpoint the things that are actually still affecting you.
Yeah.
And it made sense with that metaphor as well. So it was interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And we wanted to touch on the aspect too of what we were going over is, that 50% that tap out, it's so relative on the steps. We're talking about 1 through 4 or 5, 50% tap out. They may do a 1, 2, 3, right? Do the cha-cha-cha out the door on 4 or 5. 50% of the people, we see it all the time.
Yep.
They
1, 2,
don't
3
want to
door.
look at it. Yeah.
1, 2, 3 door.
1, 2, 3 door. And then another 30% tap out between 6 and 10 when it gets real, what she's talking about on that second pour with the therapy, the shit's getting real. Now we're straight digging it down. We're really challenging ourselves for some new thoughts, actions, and emotions. And then 80%, and then the other 5% tap out between 10 and 12. They're not giving it away. They're not practicing it. They're not grabbing someone else and teaching all the good news that they got. So when I was breaking that down on the video on the side part, it's like they say only 2 out of 10 people actually dig deep enough to stay. And to go through the process.
It's interesting too, because I have a friend, actually a sponsee of mine, and he's like 8 years into his recovery, and he's at this has this like this roadblock where like he's been clean for all these years, he's done all this work, but he struggles with this belief in himself to like make the next move, and it's career wise, it's school wise. It's these thoughts that he tells himself, and he's all these years along, right? But he's still got those ping pong balls sitting at the surface, and those are the things that he's struggling with right now. It's no longer about, putting drugs in his body, putting alcohol in his body.
Yeah.
It's these other things, right, that are hindering him, these thoughts, and after all this time, right? And I think about those last 3 ping pong balls at the top,
For sure, it's like for me when I was going through for my background and my history, my beliefs when I came in, when they said, my mentor's like, why don't you become a nurse? And my knee-jerk reaction was my old self. But I had enough of the program of 3rd and 7th step and all that to say, okay, build with me, do with me as thou will. Let's see what you got, God. Make me a nurse. And I had every excuse. We have so many rationalizations and justifications to not do what God wants us to do. But then we just press into it, and then the path started appearing.
Yeah, that leaning into it, that really is everything. I mean, I have seen whenever I try to get out of my comfort zone, that's when my character defects come back full force. My self-worth, my self-esteem, all those things that everybody told me about me, those things come out to play when I'm trying to get into something new. And that's immediately, for me, that's a call to my sponsor. That's extra meetings weekly. For me, the only way to get past get out of my own way is to get deeper into the program and really be reminded this sounds funny, but it's selfish of us to hide our gifts. That's our ego.
Ooh.
God wants us, your higher power wants you to shine as bright as you possibly can. That's our goal. We all are at this big market and we're bringing our gifts to market to share. And it would be selfish of us not to share those gifts. But it doesn't feel like selfishness. It feels like fear, because that's what we're riddled with as drug addicts and alcoholics. We're fearful creatures. We can call it whatever we want. Maybe it's fear,
Yeah.
The feeling under the feeling. And we have a solution for that. We have a step for that. And so, I would get up to do my lives and I would be crying right up until they started. I would pray. I would do my live. I would get off. I would cry. It's not easy. So don't think just because it feels hard for you, it's not meant for you. I would make myself sick. I would self-sabotage. I would get the flu. I would really be throwing up until I finally realized, like, this is emotional. I'm creating this in myself. Okay, surrender more. How can I surrender more? How can I, call my sponsor more, do those things I need to do more? And when I reach for that, when I can find the courage to do that, I get the power to just take the next step. And for me, faith is taking the step, knowing the ground is not there, but it's going to be there by the time my foot meets it, because I don't always know what's next.
I love that you said you use the term lean into it. And that's something that I live by that term. And I found that, I try to avoid things that are hard, right? That's what I do. And if I avoided everything that was hard, I wouldn't be sitting here today. Everything I've leaned into has led me to this point. And the most discomfort that I've experienced is when I'm resistant to the difficult thing that I'm facing. When I tell myself I'm just going to lean into this, all of a sudden I feel a little bit better about it.
Right.
Yeah.
When I'm dancing around it and trying to avoid it, that's when I really feel the anxiety. That's when I really feel the discomfort. When saying lean into it, that I'm just going to lean into it, kind of gives me ownership over it. Allows me to accept it. It allows me to just say, this is what it is. There's no way around it. I'm going right into it. And it's going to be okay. And then what's happened for me at least, is you come out the other side and then it deepens that belief. It deepens that faith.
Yes.
And all of a sudden now I'm not as scared of the things that I was once scared of, because 1, I've experienced them, and 2, I've always come out the other side and I've been okay.
Yeah.
So the next thing coming down the line, I'll lean right into it because I know I'm going to be okay. And that doesn't, you don't walk into recovery. You don't walk into a meeting with that your first day, That's something you gain over time.
We rewire our neural pathways through action, and then we believe we are who we say we are. We have to take the action, and then we become the person. Just like rehab, we had to get into rehab, then we had to go to meetings, then we had to do the things, then we became sober, right? Manifestation is no different. You become the person, then you get the thing. You take the action, then you get the reinforcement. All that is like classic programs. You just apply it to the rest of your life,
That's amazing. So we're going to take a quick pause right there. I know you guys don't want to pause because we don't either, but we have an amazing sponsor. He was on episode 27. It's His House New Creation that helps fund the situation, but he helped save my life. And if anybody needs help out there or needs a treatment center, they have Medi-Cal, insurance, not insurance, need help. He's been helping people for over 30 years in the community. And that number is 877-345-4138. And that number, once again, is 877-345-4138. And that is His House New Creation. We're going to go to the commercial break really quick. Go ahead and take a listen, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to the place where it all began, the 9th Street House. Our maiden journey into hope and recovery for His House New Creation treatment centers since 1994. Right next door, the 9th Street apartment building stands as a testament to our commitment to providing comfortable and safe spaces for recovery. And on the other side, nestled amidst nature's best, our Palm House offers a tranquil haven to begin the path to sobriety. You'll find 12 unique His House New Creation treatment centers across Southern California. Just as recovery encompasses inner and outer transformation, our facilities mirror this philosophy. The external beauty of our homes reflect the nurturing and healing environments you'll discover within. These are just glimpses of the harmonious spaces where we support your journey to recovery. Our state-licensed and highly accredited programs echo this sentiment. We know that successful addiction treatment is more than skin deep. It requires a robust plan that heals the mind, strengthens the body, and nourishes the soul. We select the best facility to cater to your unique needs, providing focused, compassionate care that sets you firmly on the path to sobriety and hope. Welcome to His House New Creation Treatment Centers, where the journey to a healthier you begins. Your recovery begins here with us.
All right, welcome back from break here, listening to His House New Creation. They're out there doing those big things. We did the expose on episode 27 with the 71-bed treatment center in Claremont. That is full function, full go, helping all types of people, of course. As we are on the Super Sober Podcast, we're back with Jessica M., and we're going to go into the second of the 3 videos here. And just to explain a little bit of the visual of for the listening audience, she's got her kids' magnetic blocks that make the walls out, and then she puts the little truck on it, and she's loading it up and giving the explanation of the universe and what you want for another unbelievable correlative visual for manifestation and abundance. So we're going to go to that next one, and going to be a few minutes, and we'll get back and we'll talk on that one. Sound good, guys?
Sounds good.
All right, I'm going to take the next 2 or 3 minutes and show you visually what it looks like when you block your blessings. I love a good visual. I have one that went viral pinned to the top of my page. So if you're a visual learner and you're struggling to understand what quit blocking your blessings means, stay right here for a few minutes. This little car right here is the universe, and it is wired by law to give you whatever you want. Okay, so let's say you want a new relationship, you want some money, you want to feel happiness and peace, you want a home full of love and laughter, you want your new business to pop off, and you want to be in really good shape. Anything and everything you want is on this little car. And the universe is like, okay, they made a request. I am going to go ahead and load this up and get it delivered to you. And you wake up the next morning and you're like, you know what? I really need to get a degree before I can make money. You know, I really need to lose 10 pounds before I can have that relationship. You know, I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. Who's going to listen to me? Nobody really loves me. You have now installed blocks for your blessings that were already loaded on the universal truck to be delivered to you just because you've earned them by birthright. Your beliefs about yourself determine the speed at which your abundance can get to you. So our job is to realize that we are the only ones that are blocking our blessings and heal any belief systems we have that are in opposition of the fact that everything is already ours right now. So you start doing some internal healing. You do some inner child work and you realize, you know what? It's 2024. I don't have to have a degree. I can create content. I can do something online. You know what? I decided I don't need to lose 10 pounds. I love myself the way that I am. Guess what? Your blessings start immediately coming back towards you. The more inner work you do, the more healing you do, the more you change your internal narrative, the more you start to change your external reality, and those blessings get closer and closer and closer. And I'm going to tell you something, my friend. When you're right here, when your blessings are knocking at the door of getting to you, you are going to feel like your entire world is falling apart because these last belief systems have been here the longest and they're holding everything in place. So if you're struggling, if you feel like your 3D reality is falling apart, know that the universal truck with all your blessings is right outside your front door, and persist with your healing. Persist with your beliefs, because what you are wanting is also wanting you. All right, I'm going to take.
I love the visual. That is just so good. And, you know, and then they bring in some lofty spiritual dimension stuff, which is maybe we'll get into, maybe not, but it's not necessary, I guess. And but it's just so many correlative. Oh man, it's just so good to see the visuals like that, especially with your kids' blocks, magnetic blocks. I was showing a friend that, and Jared was all, oh, those are his kids' favorite blocks to play with, and it's just so awesome right there. And then some of the blockings of your blessings video, I mean, inside of us already, for people that have been doing the work and working the 12 steps in recovery, or maybe not even in recovery, people that are out there, it just seems everybody's just willing to start taking a dive on working on themselves, whether it be healthy, losing weight, whether it be autophagy, going into states of fasting, or just doing something different, getting out there, being in nature. Rich knows all about being in nature. He's always out there. But a couple of the things that the comments that came up that I wrote down was, what you resist will persist. So those resisting factors right there, you're the one keeping the resistance up. And then, of course, right, doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. And man, people just doubt themselves to the core. And like what the explanation Rich just brought up about one of his sponsees, and I have other sponsees and other people too, we're like all on the sidelines cheering these people, you can do it, right? And like the book Drop the Rock, it comes up in my mind. We're all on this ship and they come running into the water and they won't let go of all their character defects and their beliefs and who they are. And so let's go into a little bit of you breaking down how that came about and some personal experiences on the blocking of the blessings.
Yeah, I in that class at New Thought Community, when I was taking Science of Mind, we spent a lot of our time really discussing that you can create anything you want in your mind, and you just give reality enough time to catch up. You have to persist in your belief. We create in the 5D, we receive in the 3D. Okay, that's how that works. And so the more time you spend thinking about your new reality and spending time in that new reality, the quicker things that are going to change and rearrange to make that happen for you. But our minds are not designed for success. They're designed for safety. So if your brain senses that you're on the verge of change, it's going to pop up something to keep you safe in your same reality. Like, oh, college is necessary for me. College is necessary for me. Because your brain, I mean, think of the caveman days. Don't go out that cave. You're going to get eaten, right? Your brain is wired to keep you exactly how you are. So you have to be the one to say, if your brain is feeding you a belief, is this valid? Is this real? Am I going to listen to it? Or can I move it to the side? Is this valid? Is this real? Can I listen to it? Or can I move it to the side? And the closer you get to change, the more your brain is like, okay, she didn't buy that one. She didn't buy that one. Fire up the trauma. It's going to bring out the big guns, like the big guns, like what your dad told you when you were 3 that never left you, or what that guy in that relationship told you when God knows what was happening, like the big guns. And so that is where we have, once you understand that process, it doesn't feel any funner to hear it or experience it. But once you understand that that's the rhythm, you're like, no, thank you. I'm going to do some inner child work for that. So the next time my brain tries to fire it up, it's not going to hit as hard. And that's really what I meant by do the work. Your brain will show you what it's using against you if you pay attention. Your brain will show you the levers. It's our job to unwind those triggers so that we can persist on that goal that we're working towards, because we are magnetic. That was the big undercurrent with the magnets, right?
Oh.
We are creators of our own reality. And what we seek is seeking us. Our job is to walk through those roadblocks and push them down so that we can actually receive what we're meant to have, or what our heart's desire is.
Wow. Super interesting. Super interesting. I feel like every meeting I'm in, like lately, I've been sharing about this because it's such a deep part of me. And I like the sponsee I was talking about. Right now, I got him, and I'm letting him know. I'm telling him, like, because I know for me, even through all the actions that I've taken, my brain still likes to tell me the same things that it told me 12 years ago. But the thing is the difference nowadays is I don't have any evidence to support it.
Yeah.
There's no evidence to support this thing that my brain is telling me. And that's something I learned early on, is like, okay, my brain's telling me something. What evidence do I have to support that today? And I don't. You know? And then so in that case, my brain is going to tell me things. And so I can either listen to that and then act accordingly, or I can hear it, call it what it is, and take the necessary action or the contrary action to whatever it is my brain is telling me. So I always tell him, like, right now it's not about what you think, it's about what you do,
Right.
And so if you always do what your brain is telling you, then you're always going to stay exactly where you are. And
Yeah.
it goes right along with what you said about like how our brain is designed to keep us safe and keep us right where we are, to keep us from changing. And that's been my experience as well. And so for me, again, that leaning into it has absolutely changed my life. And on the other side of that has been everything I've ever wanted. And so it's real. It's real.
It's real. It's unbelievable. And I just think about all four of us sitting here, how much we've had to push into it, and including sitting in this unbelievable studio, and Solomon giving us the place here, like how much he had to push into that to create his business, and how many things went through all of our minds that are doing all of it. And inside of me is the man who came in almost 23 years ago. All of it was already there. These people think that this is not who they are or inside of them. We just got to have the right people, like Jessica was talking about, the right place at the right time. And if not with us, then with who? If not here, then where? If not now, then when? These are questions we have to ask ourselves. And most people, right, they say live a life of quiet desperation. And nowadays, these days, people are shouting it from the rooftops. We've had a lot of people on this podcast shouting it out. There's a movement over here in OC called Out Loud Recovery, and people doing it and just coming out and talking about it and not being ashamed about it.
Yep.
And it's not that it's some new age process. This is a lot of all this information, and what we're doing is just becoming unburied. And I'm seeing this visual of the past and the ancient wisdom just being buried from the Stoics, from the burning of the Library of Alexandria, and even before, just all this wisdom just bubbling up from humanity and Earth itself, coming out for everybody to share now. And we have the global platform. We have the technology to do it. We can share it. She said her video went viral in 3 different languages. And, we know the book is written from A to Z, from Arabic to Zulu. I mean, how many people from this self-help program are still affecting to this day in 2025? It's just super inspirational. And people on the sidelines watching everybody else being inspired and going through it. That's why we started this podcast, right? To get the word out, to let people know that, there's other platforms like F the stigma. The stigma's gone now, and it should be gone, but people are still lost in what they feel is safe. And that's not a safe place to be. And dragging along all this stuff, these people, places, and things that were handed to you from people that thought that of course they loved you, but they didn't do their own healing. It was
Right.
just kept on being passed down once again, one more time. And unbelievable work, Jessica.
I'm from generations of mental illness, generations and generations, like people in psych ward mental illness. And I was like, you know what, this stops. This stops with me. I'm not going to pass this on. I don't care what it takes. I don't care what I have to do. This stops with me, and really recognizing the inner work that it does. It takes one person to change the trajectory of an entire family line. One person to break that cycle. And I want you to imagine the weight of that and the gravity of that. So if you're that one person, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth it. The children that are coming after you, the grandchildren that are coming after you, the changes that you're going to make. And I think all along this journey, the important thing to remember too, is it's our job to launch the desire. Higher power, he's in the outcome business. We're in the footwork business. So you just have to get yourself to the place of yes when that one opportunity gets there. And then you get yourself in a place of yes when that next opportunity gets there. You don't have to think about 5 miles down the road. This is one step, one prayer, one nervous system regulation at a time.
Wow. I hope everybody's listening on this one as usual. We could just keep on just pushing it out there. So we're going to do one more video here. This one is basically what her platform's about. And people were asking her, what is exactly that she does? So we pull up another video, and we're going to get into what exactly that she does do. And she's been alluding it, of course, for the last 45 minutes or so. But we're going to do the last video and then talk about that, and then see where Jessica is right now, and then how much influence is going on, and then where she's doing with her businesses and all that. Sound good?
Sure.
All right.
Somebody asked me the other day, Jessica, what do you teach? You talk about all these things, but what do you teach? I teach a combination of 3 different things. These 3 things have absolutely changed my life. 1, you have to have a way to work through your trauma. You have to have an understanding of healing and a process that you can use to heal the issues that you run into when you try to change. The second thing I teach is law of attraction and law of assumption. You have to have a basic understanding for how the energetics, how the world works for you to be able to call in what you need. And the third thing is identity work. How do you jump into the character of the person that you're trying to become so that your reality will shift in such a way that you receive the things that that person has? Those 3 things, combination, put them on rinse and repeat. That is the secret sauce for getting the life of your dreams. That's what I teach.
All right. That's awesome. So let's do a little bit of teaching on those 3 topics right there, of course. Where we've been doing so much, as Jared, one of the co-hosts, is like, we're all on the trauma spectrum. You can't be alive today without being on the trauma spectrum. They're pushing the fear factory out right now. I like to call our society the fear factory, the addiction creation machine. And if you found yourself a little bit disillusioned, it's not by chance. It's they put a lot of money into that stuff. And right now we have some big global issues coming up, firing up more stuff in the Middle East. And we're not going to get into war and politics or anything, but that seems to always scare people. That's for sure. So let's go into how we're doing of the 3 topics that you do teach.
Yeah. So I'm just going to give you a breakdown of each one. That way you have like a high level understanding. In terms of healing your trauma, what I teach is, since we're on a sobriety platform, do your step work. You're going to do your inventories. If something comes up at all, do the damn inventory. Do the writing, do the journaling, get it worked out, do the steps that coordinate with that. Then if you still feel like there's something left, you've got something left that didn't do it, I do a lot of inner child work, inner teen work, inner young adult work, where I simply sit down, I visualize the situation that's happening, and I walk back in the situation, the version of me today. I walk up to that version of me in that moment, and I give them what they needed. So for my inner child, that looks like, you know what? Hey, these people didn't know what they were doing. You're okay. You're beautiful and you're smart. Let's go somewhere else. Let's go have some ice cream. Let's go do something. I explain it. I take them out of that moment. I bring them some peace and happiness, and immediately inside me, I feel peace. If I'm doing it with my inner teenager, same thing. I'm explaining what's going on in that moment. I'm getting them out of it. I'm making them feel loved. Me in my early 20s and 30s, when I'm doing this visualization, it's like, baby, you were doing the best that you could with the information that you had. Mm-hmm. We forgive you for the choices that you made, because you made those choices with all the information you had at that moment. You couldn't have done it any different. You did your best. And forgiving and encouraging those versions of myself. So teaching those techniques allows people to give themselves permission to let's go fix that moment by moment, as many times as we need to integrate those different ages in us in a way that makes us feel brave and proud and safe. So that's the healing part. That's the healing that I talk about a lot. And of course, I go into a couple different methods, but that's the most impactful. You know, every version of you needs something different to be able to let that go. And if you can give that to yourself, you're reparenting yourself in a way that the people around you probably didn't have the capacity to do it. So law of attraction, okay, is we attract what we are. So we want to get on the same frequency as the things that are meant for us. When we want to get sober, we got to be around sober people, right? When we want to make money, we got to get around people who are making money. If we want to be positive and happy, we can't be around toxic people. So I really start to talk about the things in your energetics, the things in the environment, the things in your space. And for those of you listening, if you want something you can do today to change your life, go clean out your closet, go clean out your dresser, get rid of anything that reminds you of a version of you that you are no longer in alignment with. That shirt from 2000, whatever, that you did God knows what in, let it go. Okay, let it go, right? Those mementos from that relationship that wasn't that great, let it go. Okay, let's change those energetics. only have things around you that are aligning with the version of you that you're trying to be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of scratching the surface on a little bit of tools that I give for the law of attraction. There's a lot more that goes into that, of course. Law of assumption is what we believe has to come true in our 3D reality. Think about the first day you were like, I am sober. You had to say it over and over and over and over and over. And guess what? You got sober. I'm doing my 4th step. I'm doing my 4th step. I'm doing my 4th step. I'm making my amends. I'm making my amends. You said it a million times before you actually finished it. And then it happened. So every single one of you has evidence in your own story that the law of assumption works for you. What you need to understand is you can use that any way you want. I am successful. I make $20,000 a month. I am a movie star. I am a content creator. Whatever your I am is, if you believe it persistently above all else, the universe has no choice but to serve it. It's law. It's universal law. And then identity work, that last piece, that is the super fun part. That is where you sit down and you take the weight of what society has told you off and you ask yourself, who am I? I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm a multi-million-dollar business owner. I'm a global brand. And you write all that down and you just get as out there with it as you want to get. I mean, here's how you know, if it feels good in your body, it's meant for you. If you have like don't even write that shit down. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's got to be like a full body yes. Okay. Then now that you have your new identity, tomorrow when you wake up, you make decisions how they would.
Yes.
How are they going to make that decision? Are they going to eat oatmeal? Are they going to eat French fries? Are they going to go for the run? Are they going to stay in bed? Are they going to send the scary email to connect with that person, or are they not going to do it? You jump into the identity of who you know you're truly meant to be. So that's what I teach.
That is amazing. Yes. Thanks for breaking it down so simplistically. And we're big fans of it. We were talking about before the podcast, we have a lot of the same mentors. If you go on her page, I was looking into there and who do I see? Of course, some Joe Dispenza books. I'm all, yes, and probably the law of attraction you might want to throw out, but maybe some other mentors like maybe Esther Hicks or some of the other people that just teach that. And that's some other high, lofty kind of 5D workers or what you would say. And maybe we'll do a podcast on the actual vibrational chart. People think that energy, frequency, and vibration is some woo-woo stuff. But I mean, without energy, frequency, and vibration, you would not be listening to this, seeing it, feeling it, or any of those aspects. I mean, we have all this frequency and information coming through our phones, which is energy, frequency, and vibration. But when we start talking about the people or actually ourselves or our heart being a magnetic or how much electricity is involved with the body or energy centers, that's where we start losing people. They think that they're not that kind of being, right? And it's like, there's only 110,000% proof that that's what we are. If you put an EKG lead on your body, what are we reading? I mean, we're talking two medical professionals here. You can, if you don't think how much energy is going through the body or how much divine actual aspects of how cells replicate or the body works, it's unbelievable right there. If you don't think there is a higher power, start learning about the body. And man, thanks for breaking it down like that, Jessica. That's just super powerful. Of course, as always on the Super Sober podcast, we'll probably have to do another episode coming up or anything. What any comments or anything on that, Rich?
Man, I relate a lot. I relate a lot to this stuff. The law of attraction, especially, like water seeks its own level. My buddy used to say in meetings. So it's like, get around the people that you want what they have.
Yes.
Because eventually, you're going to get a little some. You get a little some of that, right? Because you're going to be inspired, essentially. But at the end of the day, it takes action, And so, like, it's been interesting for me. Like, I don't know. I guess I want to get real quick, like, what your take is on, like, visualizing what you want and then setting goals in order to get there, right? Like, if the goal is like this big grand thing, like for me, eventually, like, it was to become a nurse, right? But it was like, just to say, like, become a nurse, that was too daunting. I can't tackle that. I can't tackle that all at once. So then, and fear would cripple me, right? But like, what I've learned is that that big goal is just a series of really small goals that have been attained in order.
Mhm.
And then the end result is that goal. So I guess what is I want to hear what your take is on that, like visual, like vision board or like.
Oh yeah. Okay. So vision board. So here's the deal. Your body doesn't know the difference between what you're telling it is happening and what is actually happening. That's why you can watch a piece of content or a really scary movie and get just as fired up as if you were in the car accident than the people in the car accident, right? So it works the same way for positivity. So if you've got something you're trying to accomplish, visualizing the end result, letting go of the steps. So if your goal is to start a business, you're going to create a vision board with all the things that you want your business to be. You're going to spend time in the thought, what would your day look like? I'm going to get up. I'm going to check my emails. I'm going to call some friends. I'm going to meet some friends for lunch. Like you're really going to get fully seated in the end goal. And then what's going to start to happen is you're going to get intuition with how to get there. Right. And that's the small steps that you were talking about. Like you knowing that you wanted to be a nurse, you already had that knowing. You knew, you were already convicted that that's what you were going to do. And so the small steps revealed themselves along the way. The reason we vision board and we spend time in that end result is to get really convicted and get our body used to it. So then we walk towards it. It doesn't feel so foreign. We don't get as many red flags. We don't get as much nervous system dysregulation because your body's already used to the idea that it's happening for you. So we imagine it. We let the universe know what we're doing. We get ourselves in a place of yes all along the way. But there's nothing more powerful than sitting in a visualization 5 to 10 minutes a day or looking at your vision board 5 to 10 minutes away, pulling up those feelings of happiness, success, abundance, because then your body's going to associate it with safety. And that's really what we want.
Wow.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Heck
Absolutely.
yeah, you did.
Absolutely.
Well, unfortunately, guys, we're coming down. You got any last comments or anything, Solomon back there? Oh, he's to wind it down, huh? Hit him up.
Well, no, I'm just listening and I'm just relating it as we go, you know. So it's like I'm just seeing all the things that I want to do with myself. And obviously I'm not in recovery, but I am a person owning a business, wanting more from your business, wanting to achieve certain goals in that business. And I'm just relating to all of these things. And then now in my mind, I'm thinking about what are the steps that now I can take to create some of those positive visions for what I want to do. And, you know, and then start moving down that path. So thank you for that.
Man,
You're welcome. That's amazing.
We got a future client maybe over here. So. Yeah. So we're at the end of another, this one flew by. Oh my God, this is amazing. Great. So we want to do some shout outs and we want to give a special thanks to you, Jessica, for just being available, making the space in your busy day, just being so ready to teach and just fired up for your life and taking a moment for everybody to just sit back and just relate. And it's okay to not be okay for a while. And then you'll be okay. And then you're not okay. And then you're okay. And you're okay. That can happen like 100 times in a day.
Well, that was like us right before the podcast. We weren't okay.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now we're okay.
We're okay. Good. We're always okay. It always comes down to, it's like, are you safe? Are you okay? And it's like, but in my mind, I'm not. But in this reality right here, I mean, you're okay. You're safe. Okay. So we're going to do some shout outs at the end of this. We're going to put her links, of course, in the show notes like we do everybody. She could be found on Instagram, TikTok. It's easy. You just type in Jessica McDonald. She'll pop right up. And you'll see her viral videos. She's always creating. She has a great skincare product that she does, right? She goes and flies around and sells the product. Look at how beautiful her skin is and everything. Of course, she's an advertisement right there. But we're just going to do some ending shout outs on Super Sober Podcast number 30. We're on all platforms. Of course, you can see the video on YouTube. You want to see the video so you can just see right firsthand on the vision board of how you're going to get through this. We can be reached on the emails at f3recovery.org or info@supersoberpodcast.org. That will link us up together. We have our website at f3recovery.org. You can go on there. You can email us right through there. We're easily obtainable. Any comments, questions, or concerns, we're ready. Shout out on the back out right over here to Notorious JID, the first mascot of recovery. Notorious Jails, Institutions, and Death right here. First mascot of recovery, always hanging out, being a visual representation. He's got his own visual board the way he's been murdering people out there these days. Man, so you don't want to meet him these days. It's unbelievable. It's a lot easier to just work on sobriety, be uncomfortable for a little bit than just get comfortable being totally uncomfortable at how it is on the streets. It's unbelievably gnarly. And shout out to the Detox, the story I wrote, the first streaming series for recovery. That you can see the one sheet on f3recovery.org. You just hit the Detox. It'll explain everything. We're looking to sell that to Hollywood so we can have a first binge series for recovery. And we've been shouting that out for a couple years. And that's about it, I guess. Any last comments? We got like another minute to show down. What about you, Jessica? You got anything else you want to just allude to your platform or how you can be reached?
Sure. Once you go to any of my socials, there's a link. It has my stand store. You can sign up for my email list. And I have an online community. Right now, it's $30 a month for the next 80 people. You get in the community. There's several courses available to you in there. I go live in the community once a week. So, it doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg, and that was by design. And content is free. Consuming the content is free, and signing up for the email list is free. And I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to be here and let you know, if you're out there and you're struggling, keep going. You have no idea how amazing your life is about to get.
That's amazing.
It's real.
I'm so glad you got a platform out there to teach. And just know, anybody like on the other podcasts we've done with any of the platforms, you guys are worth your own investment.
Yes.
You are the greatest body of work that you will ever work on in your life. And we're looking if you working on that body of work. So I can say this is a shout out to the end of SSP 30. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for listening out there, everybody. Like, share, and subscribe, and keep on keeping on.
Thank you for listening to the Super Sober Podcast. Go to our website at f3recovery.org. That's F3Recovery, all one word, .org. We're turning fight, flight, and freeze into free form and flowing through practicing the 12 steps and staying accountable to change. Don't forget to keep on keeping on.